Hi, it's Kat. Today I'm going to demonstrate to you how to make your very own Parol Ornament Craft. So in the Philippines, we have these things called parol, which are Christmas lanterns, and we use those to decorate our homes during the holidays. And the star is meant to symbolize the Star of Bethlehem and also to symbolize hope. So traditionally these are hung from doorways in our homes, but you can often see them lining the streets in the Philippines during the holiday season. And traditionally these lanterns are made of bamboo and also capiz shell, which is a type of shell that come in different colors. But our version is made out of a few things that you might find around your home. And traditionally these are also lanterns, meaning they're lit from within. So, but for our ornament craft, where it's two-dimensional, it's not three-dimensional, but if you hang them on the tree, they'll be lit up from behind from your Christmas lights as well. So I hope you'll join me. So to make our Parol ornament craft, you're going to need some sticks. I use these coffee stirrers. So this is what I got off of Amazon. I like these a little bit better than popsicle sticks because they're skinnier and also a little bit longer. So you're gonna need 5 of these. You're also going to need colored cellophane paper. If you don't have colored cellophane paper, you could use tissue paper. If you have colored gift wrap tissue to fill in the stars, you can use that as well. And then I also like to use these tissue paper squares to make this part of the Parol craft, which is just the little adornments in the tips of the star. And then I had this leftover Easter grass from Easter Crafts, so I'm just going to use that to make these tails, but you can just use gift wrapping tissue and shred it if you don't have any Easter grass lying around. And then of course twine to make the loop at the top. So the first thing we have to do to make this craft is to make the frame using these 5 sticks. So I'm going to turn the camera now so you can see how I put it together. So for this portion, you're going to need a hot glue gun and your 5 sticks. So for this part, I wouldn't recommend that little kids do this part. So adults, you guys could kind of make the frames first before you give it to the little ones. So first we're going to roughly assemble a star so we could kind of guess where to add the glue. So just line it up into the star shape that you want. So I think that looks about right, like that. So I'm gonna take my glue stick, a hot glue gun, and I'm just going to first do this corner right here of the star. Then let that kind of solidify. I'm going to move this a little bit because my cord for my glue gun isn't very long. Then I'm going to do a little dab of glue here. So we have these 2 glued together. Then now we're going to put a little dab of glue there. So now all you have to do is connect these 2 right here. And to reinforce it, I'm going to put a little bit of glue here and here where these sticks meet up, just so that it's more sturdy. So we'll just let that glue set so that we have our frame for our parol. So now that we have our frame for our parol, we can start to add the colored cellophane to it. So I'm using this colored cellophane squares that I bought on Amazon. And again, if you don't have colored cellophane, you can always use gift wrapping tissue. So I like to use little triangle pieces. So I have some that are pre-cut into this size. So I'm going to show you how I cut them. Okay, so this is some colored yellow cellophane. So first I fold it in half like this, then I fold it in half again like this. So it's a square, and then I cut it here. And then here I'm going to fold it diagonally like this, and then cut it like this across the diagonal, so that I have these triangles. Now the other ones are connected this way, so you're just going to cut it across this way for the leftover pieces. And they don't have to be perfect because you're going to glue the excess and overlap it over the sticks, so it's okay if it's not perfect. Okay. So let's see how many pieces we've got. Yeah, I think we've got enough pieces. And I think, yeah. I'm gonna also grab a green piece here and cut it the same way too. So now we have our triangular pieces of cellophane and our frame. So we're gonna take our glue stick and we're just gonna start covering the frame with the cellophane. So I'm gonna start with this top piece, and then we're gonna cover this portion right here. So I'm gonna take my glue stick, and then I'm going to put some glue just on the frame, and then I'm going to cover it like this with the cellophane, and then the excess I'm gonna wrap it around and glue it behind. So I'm gonna take more glue, flip it over, and then wrap it around and glue it like that. And then now this is what the front looks like. Now it looks like there's purple, but this glue dries clear, so it'll be okay. So I'm just gonna do the same thing with each corner, with each triangular piece. So I'm gonna take this blue one, I'm gonna add glue. And then I'm going to glue it onto the back. Now you might get these little extra pieces here. You could just glue it down, or if you want to cut it, you can cut that. Also, I'm gonna cut my pieces off. So now we have these two covered in that colored cellophane. Actually, you know what? Before I forget, one of the things I forgot to do was to add our string. So I'm going to take my string and cut it and then put it at the top. I'm going to make this my top. So I'm going to take this string and wrap it through here and then just close the loop like this by making a knot. So that that's going to be the top of the ornament. I'm going to actually add another knot just to make it more secure at the top. Okay. So now let's continue covering these with the colored cellophane. Again, put glue, cover that up. And if there's exposed pieces like this, that's okay, because we're going to cover that up with some adornments. Then wrap it behind like that. You can cut your excess. Then flip it over, and you're going to add more glue on the other side. Trim your excess. Then we have our last one. Flip it over back to the front, and I think I didn't do yellow yet, so I'll add yellow to this triangle. We'll put glue on there. Then you flip it over to the back side. Add glue. And then fold it over. Okay. So now on the front, it should look like this, where all 5 triangles are covered with cellophane. Now, for this portion in the middle, you can use your colored cellophane that are triangles, and you can just cut it into that pentagon shape. So for this one, or you could even overlap it. If you don't mind different colors showing through, you could just put glue all the way through. But I think I'm going to trim mine. And then I'm going to put glue here on the frame. It's okay if it's on the part of the frame that's covered up. And then we're going to just push that down like that. This part of the frame too. And we're going to again trim the excess. And see, there's still a little bit of frame peeking out over here, so I like to mix my colors. So I'm going to put this green over here. So I'm just going to trim it a little smaller. And then just glue it on top. I like using this glue because it dries very clear and it's easy for kids to manage. Okay, so now we have our ornament that has all the different colors underneath it. Okay, so after you have all of the frame covered up with the cellophane, the colored cellophane, we're going to use our tissue paper squares to add little embellishments in each of the points of the star. So the way I do that is you can take a square of tissue paper, and you don't have to get the pre-cut squares. You can use big pieces of gift wrapping tissue, and cut it down to size. And then you're going to take it and scrunch it up to make a little flower like this. And then you're going to put it in the corner, in the point of the star. And you're going to repeat that for all of the points in your star. So you're going to make a little flower. Take this and again make a little flower. Now for these bottom two corners of your star, we're going to add these tails, right? So before we add our flowers on it, we're going to take either shredded tissue or, in my case, Easter grass, because I had some of this left over. If you're a mom, you probably have a big bin of random craft things, and now's the time to use it. And then you're going to just take these shreds, and I like to twist it like this to kind of bunch it together. Twist it really tight, and then we're going to put glue on that right there. I'm gonna put that right there. Then we're gonna take another bunch of that, and try to keep your tails the same size. Makes it look a little nicer. So twist it, twist it, twist it, and then, oops, put some glue right there. And I'm gonna kind of trim this excess stuff right here so it doesn't stick out from under the flowers we're gonna glue on there. But you don't have to. You can make it look organic. Okay, so in these corners, we're gonna again make our little tissue paper flowers. And then put glue on top, like that, on top of those tails. Top. Okay, so let's see what it looks like now. I'm going to just clean this up a little bit. So you can stop here if you like this type of style where it's really simple, but you can add more embellishments. Again, it's a good way to clean out your craft bin. So if you have little rhinestones, little stickers, you could add it on there and dress it up as nice as you like. And don't worry about that purple glue, it'll dry clear. And that's how you make your very own Christmas parol ornament. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks, bye.